Have you ever walked into a store or clicked on a website and immediately felt a certain way calm, excited, nostalgic without knowing why? Often, it's not the words or layout doing the talking. It's the colors. Color psychology is one of the most powerful and subtle tools in branding. It shapes perception, builds emotional connection, and communicates values instantly before a single word is spoken. Whether we're talking about a billion-dollar corporation, a rising content creator, or a globally recognized musician, the right use of color can create a lasting impression that defines the identity of a brand or artist. From the bold red of Coca-Cola to the serene blue of Facebook, from Oprah Winfrey's grounded earth tones to Billie Eilish's moody green and black aesthetic, color is never random. It's chosen with intention. Today, we're exploring how color psychology works, what different colors communicate, and how the world's most successful brands, public figures, and musicians have mastered this silent yet persuasive form of storytelling. If you're building a brand, personal or professional, this is where the color of your story begins. What is color psychology and why does it matter? Color psychology is the study of how colors affect our behavior, mood, and perception. It's both scientific and deeply emotional. Our brains react to color in milliseconds, drawing on both instinct and cultural associations to make snap judgments. That's what makes it so influential in branding. Within seconds of seeing a brand's logo, website, or social feed, we form emotional impressions. Trust, excitement, elegance, danger. These feelings are sparked largely by color. In branding, color isn't just decoration, it's communication. Blue signals trust and intelligence. Red evokes urgency and excitement. Green represents health and growth. These aren't just aesthetic choices, they're psychological triggers. That's why brands invest so heavily in color. A study from the University of Loyola found that color increases brand recognition by up to 80%. In an age of scrolls, clicks, and split-second decisions, that kind of impact is priceless. And it's not just for companies. Personal brands rely on color just as much, if not more. Take Marie Forleo, for example. Her brand leans into soft blush pinks, warm golds, and ivory tones. Those colors communicate creativity, warmth, and approachability. They match her brand voice, inspirational, feminine, and confident. Now contrast that with someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, whose brand visuals often use high-contrast black, gray, and white. That palette says clarity, grit, and no-nonsense hustle. Same medium, very different message, delivered through color. Brands that own their colors. When we think of iconic brands, their colors often come to mind before their slogans or even their logos. Coca-Cola is red, Facebook is blue, Spotify is green. It's not a coincidence, it's strategy. Coca-Cola's red evokes excitement, youth, and energy. It's festive, energetic, and tied to decades of joyful imagery, from vintage advertisements to Santa Claus. It's not just about dates, about happiness in a bottle. Facebook uses a cool blue that communicates trust and reliability. That choice wasn't just about visual appeal, it was based on psychology. Studies consistently show that people associate blue with security and calm. And in the case of a platform where billions of people share personal information daily, establishing trust through color is crucial. Personal brands do this just as powerfully. Oprah Winfrey, for example, uses rich, earthy colors, deep blues, greens, and warm neutrals. These tones convey groundedness, wisdom, and emotional depth, all traits that align with her public image. They make her feel safe and relatable, while also regal and respectable. Now think about musicians. One of the best examples of strategic color branding is Beyoncé. During her Lemonade era, her visuals were soaked in golden yellows, ochres, and earthy reds. These weren't just pretty choices, they reflected themes of heritage, empowerment, and healing. Then, with Renaissance, she pivoted visually to metallic silvers, purples, and black light aesthetics. That shift signaled freedom, futurism, and a celebration of black joy and queer culture. The music evolved, and so did the color story. Taylor Swift takes it even further. Each of her album eras has a distinct color palette. Reputation was all black and white-y, secretive, and bold. Lover was awash in pastel pinks and blues, reflecting romance, idealism, and vulnerability. Midnights introduced deep blues and purples, signaling introspection and emotional depth. Her fans know the shift in color always signals a shift in narrative. That's the power of consistency and reinvention through color. What each color means and how it's used in branding. Now, let's explore the emotional language of individual colors, what they typically communicate, and how brands and creatives use them to tell their story. Red is often associated with passion, power, and urgency. It commands attention and fuels action. That's why it's used by brands like Netflix and YouTube. It says, "Press play." In music, artists like Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga often lean into red visuals when expressing boldness and emotional intensity. It's not subtle, but it's unforgettable. Blue is the color of calm, trust, and intellect. It dominates the corporate world used by banks, tech companies, and healthcare brands. But it's also popular in personal brands that want to communicate authority with compassion. Mel Robbins, for example, often uses shades of blue in her visuals, presenting herself as composed, thoughtful, and grounded. Artists like Adele and Drake have used deep blues in their album art and promotional visuals to express emotional depth, reflection, and personal evolution. Yellow communicates optimism, creativity, and warmth. It's attention-grabbing, but also friendly. Brands like McDonald's and Snapchat use yellow to appeal to joy and youth. Coldplay's early branding, especially around their hit song Yellow, used the color to convey hope and emotional vulnerability. Billie Eilish subverts this by using dusty yellows and faded golds in Happier Than Ever, adding a layer of melancholy beneath the surface brightness. Green is tied to health, growth, and nature. Spotify, Whole Foods, and wellness influencers use green to represent renewal and authenticity. Lord's solar power era used sun-drenched greens and earthy tones to signal a return to simplicity and natural rhythms. In personal branding, people like Dr. Mark Hyman use green to visually reinforce their message of holistic health and balance. Orange blends the energy of red with the optimism of yellow. It's fun, creative, and sociable. SoundCloud, Fanta, and HubSpot all use it to energize their brand presence. Musicians like Lizzo incorporate orange and gold into their visuals to amplify themes of joy, body confidence, and celebration. Purple is the color of imagination, mystery, and luxury. It's used by Cadbury to convey indulgence and by Twitch to appeal to a creative, niche audience. Prince turned purple into a cultural signature. Purple Rain wasn't just a song, it was a visual identity that symbolized sensuality, eccentricity, and freedom. Today, artists like Olivia Rodrigo use lavender and distressed purples to evoke teen angst and romantic vulnerability. Black represents sophistication, authority, and control. Brands like Apple and Chanel use black to elevate their image and suggest premium quality. Kanye West's Donda visuals were dominated by black, stripping away distraction to let the emotion and controversy of the work stand front and center. Personal brands like Gary Vaynerchuk use black for edge, clarity, and focus. White symbolizes purity, minimalism, and clarity. Apple's iconic white space has come to represent innovation and simplicity. Marie Kondo's brand uses white to reflect her philosophy of peace, organization, and joy. In music, artists like SZA use stark whites in the visuals for SOS to highlight emotional cleansing and the theme of rebirth. Finally, brown is often underused but deeply effective. It symbolizes dependability, humility, and grounding. Brands like UPS and Timberland embrace it. In personal branding, Brené Brown often incorporates earth tones to reinforce her message of vulnerability, trust, and deep human connection. Bruno Mars's 24K Magic era fused browns and golds to evoke retro luxury with an authentic twist. Please like this video. Cultural context. Why color meanings can shift. It's important to understand that color meanings aren't always universal. Cultural context matters. In the West, white typically symbolizes purity and new beginnings, while in many Eastern cultures, it represents mourning. Red might signal danger in some regions, but celebration and good luck in others, such as in China. If you're branding for a global audience like many musicians and creators today, you need to consider how your color choices will be received worldwide. Take BTS, for instance. The global K-pop phenomenon uses soft purples and pastels consistently in their branding. I Purple You, coined by member V, became a phrase that symbolizes deep love and trust between the band and their fans. It's a brilliant example of how a single color can evolve into an emotional language across cultures. How to choose your brand colors thoughtfully. So, how do you choose the right colors for your brand? It starts with knowing your message. What emotions do you want people to feel when they encounter your brand? If you're aiming for boldness and high energy, red or orange might fit. If your vibe is peaceful and grounded, maybe go with green or soft neutrals. Think about what you stand for and how you want to be perceived. Then consider your audience. What appeals to them? If you're speaking to professionals, blues and grays might make sense. If you're targeting creatives or younger audiences, brighter or pastel colors could work better. You also want to look at your industry. Some colors are saturated in certain spaces, so you can either align with expectations or strategically differentiate. Consistency is key. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, or influencer, you should carry your core palette across your digital footprint, your website, socials, thumbnails, album covers, and even stage design. Musicians like The Weeknd used deep reds and blacks across his After Hours era, so effectively that those colors became part of his musical identity. Most importantly, make sure your colors feel right to you. Your brand should feel authentic, something you can live in and grow with. Test it out, see how people respond. Because when your colors resonate emotionally, they don't just make your brand look better, they make it unforgettable. Color is more than a visual decision, it's a strategic one. It communicates who you are, how you feel, and what you stand for. When you choose your brand colors intentionally, you're choosing how you'll be remembered. From Beyoncé's bold golds to Billie Eilish's rebellious greens, from Oprah's earth tones to the unmistakable red of Coca-Cola color, is a silent language that shapes perception and builds trust. So, whether you're building a personal brand, designing an album cover, or launching your business to the world, don't just pick colors that look good, pick colors that feel like you. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing your brand can say is in the color it wears. Please leave any comment below and subscribe. Thank you.